of the voice. Where's your blue steel face, Kevin? Welcome again. Pre-gaming. Shout out to Tom. I get an extra ding for that. Welcome to Pre-gaming. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching. I'm Serena Morales, and that is the gorgeous, degenerate Kevin Klein.
Waiting for these numbers to cash eventually, huh? You know, got the lottery tickets on the ready, got some games to look forward to today. We put the cash in casual for your pregame experience, hanging out together, and clearly I made enough money last week to get myself an average haircut, which means we are a successful group of people. The cuppers and the cappers. This is not your shiny floor suit and tie pregame show. None of us have any NFL actual playing experience. But boy, do we know how to pick some winners. And we don't have to go ahead and start patting backs about last week, because last week was not great for the public. A lot of the dogs did what they had to do. This week, I think it will be a very different story, but you don't have to take my word for it. As you know, G.I. Joe said, knowing is half the battle. And that is why we bring on the greatest cappers that we could afford and convince to wake up early and break down the games. That will be coming up on the show today. As always, Serena, we kick things off by drinking heavily. We invite you to drink with us. And of course, our 2-minute drill where we break down some of the big topics of the day. Set the clock, Serena. What say you?
Well, you've heard, obviously, that Tom Brady is reportedly retiring. We are not sure, but it's been after 22 years. Kevin, why now? Sure, maybe he's done what he needs to do. Maybe he wants to focus on his family more. Maybe, the avocado toast is done with. Maybe the expensive clothing line of his is just too much to handle. But my theory, it's the ref's fault. After getting his first unsportsmanlike penalty of his career last week, this man decides to retire. The chain, they didn't even charge him a fine, but it cost him 15 yards. And I think that's enough. And, Kevin, Tom Brady is like, I'm over this. Don't you dare disrespect me any longer.
The refs have been on Team TB12 for years, as you know. So if there's a split there, no. The answer is he saw the first sales of the sweatshirts. He sold 3 sweatshirts. It was enough to cover his entire contract for the next 2 years. So he's like, forget this football thing. He also got hit a lot last week, dude. He was under, you never see Tom Brady get hit that often. He went through seasons without getting hit like that. And eventually he's like, God, this football thing is painful, especially as a 44-year-old. That is why he's retiring. Listen, speaking of quarterbacks, I want to bring this up. From the last week, in some games, quarterbacks made all the difference, but Jimmy G did not have a great week. Burrow did not have a great week. The only Q this week is the QB. These games will all be based on which quarterbacks play better. That's the bottom line. If the quarterback plays better, the team will win. A lot of pressure on Jimmy G today to perform against the Rams. A lot of pressure on Stafford, of course. Listen, you got great performance from, the Chiefs had good offense last week. We all saw that. The Bills had good offense last week. Didn't matter. Josh Allen is watching from his couch today. But when it came to Burrow and Jimmy G, they both need to play well today. And that's not a bold statement here. But last week they got lucky. They got wins without having great stats. And this week will not be the case. Better stats win the games.
And that is our 2-minute drill. Finally, Kevin, it only took however many weeks the football season lasted us, because it was extra. 18 weeks that you got under the 2-minute drill. It's fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
They said when I talk more, people tune out more. So I've decided to keep my thoughts concise. That's the feeling overall here.
Well, let's then get to it. We have 2 games left in the NFL season. Let's bring in our cappers for our Power Hour. And again, thank you all for joining us for another pre-gaming. It's exciting times. There's just 4 teams left, and there's 4 of us left.
Crazy, right?
How does this work?
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself on Sundays when the show is over. I'm probably just going to pull a Kevin and walk around random bus stops in Port Authority, ask people for their picks. I'm going to be lost without this show. So, let's make it a great one.
Let's make it a great
Good
one.
news for Danny is he won't have to jump through any more tables or eat hot chips. So at least the punishments will be over.
Thank God.
Oh, thank God for that.
It's funny that you guys think because there's no more football games, we're not going to sit here on YouTube and just make each other do terrible things for our own entertainment. You're wrong. That'll continue on. The spinoff for this is going to be even better.
I still got to pay the bills. So, yeah, hot chips, tables, whatever you need. Let's do it.
Thank goodness we still have our heads on straight after 18 weeks. All right, well, let's get to the first game. The AFC Championship. Sunday will actually be, that's today, the first postseason meeting between the Bengals and the Chiefs. So, Kenny bets big. Let's start with you. You always test these lines. So, do you think the Bengals will surprise all of us with that -7?
Well, I feel like it would be hypocritical of me to come on here and take the Chiefs because all year long I've been telling everyone that 7 points, 10 points, 13 points in the NFL is just way too many points. I love the Bengals here, +7.5. I think for anyone who didn't see, go look at how Joe Shiesty rolled up to the stadium yesterday and tell me that guy's not coming out for another repeat performance of when they met in the regular season. The Chiefs' pass defense, we saw what Josh Allen did to this team last week. Gabriel Davis had 4 touchdowns. What do you think T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd are going to do to this Chiefs defense? I just think the matchup fits very well for the Bengals. The public all over the Chiefs here, ton of money, ton of action, flowing in on that Chiefs -7 line. So yeah, give me the Bengals here +7. They beat them once. Why can't they do it again?
Kevin, you've been all over the Bengals this year.
I remember sitting here exactly 1 week ago wearing the exact same clothes that I have not changed since, talking to you guys and having to defend the Bengals week after week. And then, of course, watching that video back was almost as glorious as watching the game. The Bengals once again proving that I knew what they would do when it mattered most. I hate to say it, guys. It took me a long time, but this is the first week you're going to hear me say it. The Bengals' magical season comes to an end today because of one word with 5 syllables: experience. Okay? And that's where better game from Patrick Mahomes than you are from Joe Burrow. He'll be able to smoke his cigars while watching the Super Bowl. Not there. I looked at this from a lot of different ways, and yeah, it does seem like the spread is big. And I did say earlier this week, if you get it at 7, maybe you buy the hook, you get it at 6.5, but I don't think it's going to matter. I see this being a Chiefs blowout. I actually have a few alternate spreads. Chiefs to win this by 14, between 14 and 21. I think that as much as the Chiefs defense is questionable, my concern here is really the Bengals offense. And yes, you look at them as a points per game team and you go, wow, they've actually had quite a few games where they average 28 points or more. But what you're failing to remember is a lot of those were big blowouts. And some of the ones, they had like 5 games in the last 10 this season where they scored under 23 points. And that's where I'm concerned that you're going to get that today potentially. So I look at it and I go, I think that the best thing that could have happened to the Chiefs was that they almost lost the game last week. If last week had been a blowout game, I maybe would have thought differently right now. But because last week they felt loss until they got that great inspirational Maya Angelou quote that said, "If when times are grim, be the Grim Reaper." And now I just feel like the Chiefs tasting almost defeat. They are going to be just out there firing on all cylinders. It is look, I don't see this game being 7 as an issue. I said originally by the half, I think the Chiefs by double digits today, not even a question. I'm sorry, Bengals. I rode with you all season, but that's it. Just like we learned in Life of Pi, you can't trust the tiger when you need the tiger most.
Okay, well, Danny,
who is
let's
this
talk
guy?
some sense here.
First of all, can we comment that it says degenerate below his name, but he just quoted Life of Pi and Maya Angelou. I know why the cage degenerate things. Kevin, that's impressive. And you said this isn't a shiny. This is some culture and intellect here. Look, you guys both make really good points, and that's why I'm afraid to play a side here. I mean, like Kenny's been saying all season, it's a ton of points to lay for the Chiefs, especially in an AFC championship game. It's a lot. And then on the other side, right, I was even thinking of teasing the Bengals up to like plus 13 or 14. And to Kevin's point, I'm afraid that there's going to be a Chiefs blowout here. So what I'm going to play is the over instead. I'll play the over 54.5 simply because all I'm seeing in this game is offense. And it feels maybe a little obvious or square, but as much as I like to bet unders, I just can't do it in this game. The Chiefs haven't scored less than 28 points since December 5th. It's been 2 months since they scored less than 4 touchdowns in a game. All they do is just put up numbers. And for the Bengals, we saw what they did in all their games throughout the season. In the last week of the season, they put up 34 on these Chiefs. That game went to a score of 65. So, look, if the Chiefs, we can take anything away from something we can say positive about that defense in the Bills game, they took away Stephon Diggs, right? He had a pretty low-key game. He didn't do much at all. But what happened? Gabriel Davis had the best game a receiver's ever had in the playoffs. So, if the Chiefs are able to take away one weapon, the Bengals have 3 more. And I don't see any way that this game isn't a shootout. So I have to take the over. This thing's going through, the number 60, I think. Give me the over.
Yeah.
Captain Underpants, I just want to warn you, I looked at the last 12 times these teams met, and I know that Burrow was not a part of many of those games. This game, the last 12 times these teams met, went under 9 of 12. Just something to think about. That's all I'm saying.
But Burrow
I'll give you
wasn't in those games.
And I'll give you another one.
Right.
I believe the stat is the last 10 times a total in a conference championship game has been set at 54 or higher. It's 9-1 to the over. So the same way I say that odds makers don't set the total super low at those 40 or 37 and a half lines, they don't set them this high for no reason either. So I think we see this one go over.
Week 17, Kevin, the Bengals did a very nice job of containing both Hill and Kelsey, and the Chiefs still put up 31 points. Cincinnati's depth, as Danny had just said, at receiver has made it nearly impossible to focus on one player. Teams have tried double teaming Chase since midseason, and the Bengals still won over the Chiefs. And the Chiefs also scored 42 points in their last 2 playoff games, and it's not like they were facing weak defenses. Kevin, take the over. Listen to me and Danny in this situation.
I like the Chiefs to win, and I like the under. And I don't think you're going to get a lot from the Bengals. I could see the Bengals putting up less than 20 points as a team today. And we will watch this video together tonight, and we'll all have a good laugh. I can see myself already sending a text 5 hours from now. Hey, pull that clip. Pull that clip of when I said the Bengals were not going to be as good offensively as they had been. Please trust me, guys. This is a big. Last week, can we put up the stats from last week? I'm not a total idiot here. Let's just look at what happened last week.
Don't
There they are. Look at this. Look at that. 4-0 under my name. 4-0, which is not only what I was drinking during the game last week, a 40, but also what I scored. 4-0 week. That's amazing, guys. Come on.
What was that beautiful quote you said last week? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? Was that what it was?
Right.
All right.
Sometimes
he was right, and then he was wrong the week before.
Yeah.
I got one to support you, Kevin. If you think points will not be scored, here's one angle that scares me. The referee in this game is named Bill Vinovich. He has a huge under record when he is the lead referee of a game. I think he's like 54 and 33 under. There's a couple famous no calls that he's been a part of in playoff games. So Bill Vinovich is my main concern for the game total here.
I currently have his family duct taped in. I got his family currently duct taped in my living room. So let's see how he calls the game today.
Serena, you talked about how in the first time these two teams met, they were able to contain Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. That's by design. Like the Bengals, I know their pass defense is not the best, but they're actually ranked 6th in the NFL in pass DVOA to opposing number 1 wide receiver. So if they're able to take Tyreek Hill out of the game plan again, I think Patrick Mahomes could have a tough day today. I would love if the Bengals came into Arrowhead and upset the Chiefs. Like it's like the Warriors in the NBA. Aren't we tired of seeing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl already?
Put that guy in. Put that guy in.
Yeah.
Very quickly, please send in your questions.
Yeah, that's right. Questions, please, because I know you think you're scratching your head, going, "Who are these? What are they? What are these dumb things that this guy's saying in one of these boxes?" That's me, by the way. But if you got questions about games, players, props, before you put in your action, before you call your bookie, before you legally bet in whatever state you're in, if you're still getting cashed by the Bank of Singapore like I am, then I need very important that you get your questions to us so that we can get you your answers before kickoff as they pertain to anything. Of course, we'll break down our bet slip today. But a lot of good action, Serena. A lot of exciting action. I think we're still giving someone a chance to win a giant TV from us as well, which we should probably remind everyone, right?
Do you want to pull that up, Tom, real quick? Usually you have to throw down money to get some money. And in this instance, you just need to sign up for a chance to win money in a brand new TV. So if you're into that kind of thing, go to thegameday.com/giveaway/Super Bowl to sign up to get a 65-inch 4K smart TV. You can also win a $200 gift card to the NFL shop.com or just $100 cash. It all sounds great. So please sign up because that's exciting. And also send in your questions because one of us will answer it and it won't be Kevin. Let's get to the NFC Championship game. Rams Niners. This is such a headache because these teams just keep playing each other and the Rams just keep losing. And the Rams have a far better roster than the 49ers here, in my opinion. But Kyle Shanahan owns Sean McVay, and there's really no way around it. So, Kenny, I'm going to start with you again because you have bet on the 49ers many times this year over the Rams, but I have a feeling this time it's a little different.
Yeah, this time it's definitely different. I actually have a couple of Rams futures to win the Super Bowl at plus 1,100. So that may be clouding my judgment a little here, but the 49ers have beat the Rams already twice this season. Miracle comeback week 17 to even get to this point in the playoffs. It's just hard to beat an NFL team 3 times in 1 year. I talk about Sean McVay and how I think he's, other than Bill Belichick, the best coach in the NFL, best offensive coach, hands down, in my opinion. I just think he's going to have a perfect game plan drawn up, and I think he's going to do that. So, yeah, give me the Rams here. I don't love the number. I've been taking that 2, 3, 4 point underdog all season, and it's worked out very well. But I just can't see the Niners, having the Rams number for 3 times this year. So, for that reason, I'm going Rams today.
Captain Underpants, talk to me.
Here we go. I mean, you guys heard it on the last episode. Was it the last episode, or it was when the Rams played the Cardinals, and all of us were all over the Rams. It's one of the rare moments on the TV show where every analyst is on the same thing, and it's just straight cash, right? We didn't jinx it at all. This is going to be in the same vein. What you heard me give was my Nobel Prize winning rock, paper, scissors theory. Rams or scissors. 49ers are rock. Rock beats scissors. The ground and pound style will beat this Rams team. And look, I'm going to take the 49ers plus 3.5 because that's the best bet, I think, on the board. But, of course, Serena, you mentioned it. On paper, the roster of the Rams is far better than the 49ers. And especially, you look on the defensive side, the Von Miller acquisition, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, huge names. And they've been playing finally up to their names. The thing for me is if you look at advanced metrics, Kenny talks about DVOA all the time. Something that's interesting is pass and rush success. And the Niners rank 4th in both success against the pass and against the run on defense. So looking deeper into the statistics, this defense is damn good. I think it's actually elite. It might be better than the Rams. All we're really talking about here is Jimmy G versus Matt Stafford. Kevin's talking about it, right? Which QB will lose the game for the other team? Who's going to play better? And I think at this point, the Jimmy G slander is unwarranted. He's certainly good for his pick a game. Stafford might be good for his pick a game too. And I think it comes down to who can win in the trenches. And that game style belongs to the 49ers. All you got to do is run at Aaron Donald, right? Instead of letting him get to you, you run at him and you try to take him away by going directly into his face. The run down the throat style wins. Shanahan is about to move to 7-0 against McVay. Remember when Sean McVay was 45-0 at halftime when leading? Shanahan took that away from him in the last regular season game. There's nothing he can't outduel him in coaching-wise. Give me the 49ers to cover the plus 3.5, and I think they win outright and head to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Woo! So torn on that because I want these Jimmy G rookie cards to start going up in value. Unfortunately, these things are still selling for like $10 on eBay. I can't sell these things. So on that note, let's talk about weapons, right? And you talk about some of the greatest masterminds as it pertains to the football field, be it the Sean McVays, the Bill Belichicks. But I want to talk about a mastermind by the name of Kim Jong-un for a moment. And this guy lets you know that better weapons win wars. All right. And who's got more weapons than the LA Rams? I mean, nobody has more weapons than the Rams. They went into the season with an arsenal of weapons, and then they just added new weapons every couple of weeks. It was like they had a great tab at a bar, and they're like, drinks on me for everyone. It's unbelievable what is happening in LA. And even though I have seen the San Francisco fan base descend all over Southern California, and I will be heading out to that game as soon as we're done here, I got news for you. And once again, this is not going to be the popular opinion. The Rams, like the Chiefs, will be winning this game by double digits. It is a foregone conclusion. One of my favorite plays of the day, and not that I don't think that the spreads will come into play, but I think last week everyone saw underdogs win and cover and close games. And this week we're going to see favorites win and we're going to see blowouts. They won't be as exciting. And I promise you this, and I love this play. I put it in money line parlay. between, if you do think like Danny so eloquently said a moment ago, that this is going to be close because Sean McVay historically has had trouble against the 49ers, which is true this season alone, and then historically just against Shannon. I get everything you're saying. It makes all sense, but I say this: money line, parlay, Chiefs to win, the Rams to win, and that's pretty much an even money. You get that at like minus 105, minus 110. So lay a little bit down, but you'll get what you put into it, which is not bad. You need two things to happen, but they will happen. I looked at all these games against the spread coverages, and yes, Niners are on a nice little streak against the spread as of late, but so are the Rams too. So those pretty much cancel each other out. Home field advantage, you could argue, even though the Rams did everything they could do to keep Niners fans from the red out that they're planning today, a giant red out. That was a home game for the Rams last time they played at SoFi. Obviously, you saw that. You know how the people in LA are. We've got brunches to attend. We can't be bothered by football games, etc. That's not going to be the case today. And even though the parking to go to this game, I just learned, is more expensive than the actual tickets to the game, just to give you an idea where we're at right now. Wild.
Yeah.
No wonder that fans get overwhelmed.
Just Danny, though, like you talked about the advanced metrics. Like the 49ers are 16th in pass DVOA, right? If you break it down versus like each wide receiver, though, they're 31st in the NFL at guarding the opposing number one wide receiver. Do you forget who plays the number one wide receiver position for the Rams? Cooper Kupp. The guy has had an amazing season. 2 games versus the Niners this year, 11 catches for 122 yards, 7 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. I just think Cooper Kupp is going to run wild in this game. And I think, in the second game where the Rams blew that lead, I think the Rams had a command in the first half, and they just sat down on the ball in the second half. And, that's how the game went. I don't think they're going to sit down on the ball in this game. I think McVay is going to let Stafford just unleash him. And I think the Rams play their best game that we're going to see them play all season today.
Mm-hmm. When I covered the Rams back in 2018 when they went to the Super Bowl, I remember post-loss to that horrific. Thanks, Kevin. I'm just letting you know. I've gone to a couple Super Bowls, and Sean McVay went to a Super Bowl and he lost. And I remember after the game, he said maybe he prepared too much. You have an extra week to prepare for those big games, and I think he overdid it. Now he knows exactly what Kyle Shanahan is going to do. They're going to run the ball. And to Kenny's point, we saw last time these two teams played, the Rams had a command against the Niners, and they lost it in the last quarter. Sean McVay doesn't have enough time to prepare for this. He has been preparing for it throughout his career as the Rams head coach. The Rams are also allowing just 56 yards per game this postseason. So we know that Kyle Shanahan and the Niners are going to run. And what Sean McVay is going to do is he's going to run the ball against Kyle Shanahan. And I think they're going to get this win. And that's why I would take the Rams money line, because I don't know how this game is going to look. It's probably going to be an ugly one, but take the Rams for the money line there. And with that, let's pull up our bet slip and see how we're looking heading into our Sunday. Kevin, you certainly are changing it up these days. So let's look. You got the Chiefs at -7, taking the Rams. And then you like Matthew Stafford for an interception. I like that.
Yeah, he's been a little loosey-goosey with the ball lately. You don't need me to say it. It's him throwing just over one pick. I think you're going to get – I think it's going to be a lot of nerves. I think you may get a pick from all the quarterbacks today, actually. I was looking for a prop. I couldn't find one that, like, every quarterback throws one pick. I think you probably get one from Jimmy G as well, maybe. I could see Burrow throwing a pick easily, maybe not so much Mahomes. But regardless, I like this Stafford, as you know. I think – look, I don't know if it's going to be a deciding one in the game. It may not be a pick six. I think you'll get a pick from him, and it's pretty much an even money bet right there. I know that Andy found it at like 145. I found it at 110. So, lay a couple hundred, get pretty much your money back if he throws a pick. And that's going to be hard for me because I am rooting for the Rams in every possible way. I could root for them money-wise and everything else. But I wouldn't mind it if he throws a pick early in the game just to make him honest.
You want to pull up that bet slip again, just to give you guys, people who are joining us in, we're going to get to your questions in a second, but we did throw in just a few props to kind of spice things up. Danny, you have a nice one for Mitchell for a touchdown?
Yeah, I wanted to get an anytime TD score here. And obviously, the game plan for the Niners, if they're going to win the game, is to run down the Rams' throats like they did in the second half of last week. Eli Mitchell is that prototype running back. He's the workhorse. After Debo took that knee bruise on the helmet, I think, we could certainly see him line up back there, but he'll probably play a little more wide receiver. I'm imagining that, and Eli will be their workhorse. I think he gets into the end zone because that's how they're going to have to feature him if they want to win this game. So plus 125, pretty good for Eli Mitchell to score.
Kenny, anything you want to add heading into
Yeah, I had Byron Pringle over 3.5 catches. And I talked about how the Bengals defense is pretty good against opposing number 1 wide receivers, but they're 27th in the NFL against number 2 wide receivers. Last time these two teams matched up, Byron Pringle had 3 catches for 35 yards. The prop set at 3.5 for his catches, and his yards prop is 36.5. I think he's going to hit over on both of those props today. I think, usually what I see happen is like last week, Tyreek Hill, Kelsey had those big games, and everyone's going to come into today, hammer their anytime touchdown scores, hammer their over props. And you can find a lot of value on like the sneaky guys like a Pringle, Mecole Hardman. Those guys have a lot of value today.
All right.
You want to pull up last week's bet slip again? Yeah, just to take a look at last week's bet slip again? No? All right. Well, there it is.
Don't live in the past, Kevin. Let's live for the now.
Wow.
Also, wait, if the Hoops made a mention that Kevin was also, while he's 4-0 last week, he's made new history. For the first time in broadcasting history, someone quoted Kim Jong-un and Maya Angelou in the same show. So that's all that.
Same.
Up there, huh? It's a history lesson.
Are we surprised
Speaking in
Kevin?
Education, kids. Huh? That's right.
That takes talent. That takes real talent.
Before we get to our questions, let's get to Kevin's totally exclusive prop bet and see who he's going to quote in this section.
Before I give you the prop
show.
bet, Serena, which we will talk about Tom Brady's retirement, and then we'll get to your question, so get them to us. I just want to get a quick thought from Kenny Betts Big, who is the president of the Tom Brady fan club. Do you believe he is retired or not? Because no one can seem to come to a consensus as to whether or not actually the GOAT is retired or not. And what do you think? You've been monitoring this as well.
Well, it was unfortunate they dropped the news on my birthday yesterday, so that was like the worst news I could have heard yesterday. But
happy birthday, Ken.
It was weird because, I hope he's not retiring. I wouldn't be shocked if he is. There's been kind of that lingering the last few weeks where he hasn't really seemed fully committed to next season. But I think he's going to retire. I just think the time they broke it, like we were talking before the show, just bad timing, right? Takes away from a lot of the games that are going on this weekend. Everyone's focusing on, wow, the GOAT's retiring. So I think that's why the backtrack on it, to just kind of take the attention off of him and, focus on the games and the quarterbacks who are still playing.
Interesting. All right. Well, in that case, here's your prop bet. These are the This is the first thing. Happy birthday, by the way, Kenny. First thing that Tom Brady is going to do now that he's officially, unofficially / officially retired, which Serena and I got into a big debate earlier this week. You can find that on the YouTube channel for the game day. But we talked about who would be first to step down. Would it be Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? And of course, once again, you can go ahead and add a 5 next to my correct calls from last week, because I said that Tom Brady would be first to retire. But regardless, here we go. At 10-1 odds, the first thing he's going to do once he retires is drink more on a boat. Because if we learned anything about Tom Brady, is that last year during the Super Bowl parade was the first time the guy's ever gotten drunk on a boat. And I think he enjoyed it. So he's going to be doing that for sure. That's your 10-1 bet. At 15-1, he's going to immediately start putting on a lot of weight, or as we're going to start calling it, the TB12. That's right. Move over, freshman 15. It's all about the TB12, the immediate 12-pound weight gain after you retire. At 20-1, he's going to clean out all of his old jock straps, and he's going to release his own line of goat cheese.
Oh,
That's
gross.
that's unacceptable. It's a compliment, though, really, if you think about it. At 30-1, he's going to sign, of course, a 2-day deal, a 2-day contract with the New England Patriots, so he can retire as a Patriot, of course. And at some point during those 2 days, he's going to win another Super Bowl. I don't know how it's possible, but the guy's that good. It's going to be another one. And finally, even money, he can do whatever the fuck he wants, because he should. Congratulations, Tom Brady, the GOAT. I think if I look back at all of the bets I've made against you and with you over the years, you've probably cost me more money than you've won me. But I know for guys like Kenny and all of my friends all my masshole friends from New England and Boston, you've made them all very happy and given them way too much confidence over the years. Cheers.
Yes. Thank goodness to that. I also think, to add to Kenny's point, whether he is or he's not retiring, there's a $15 million money. Tom Brady's $15 million of Tom Brady's $20 million signing bonus from last March is set to be paid out on February 4th. So maybe he just wants to wait. I would announce my retirement February 5th or 6th just to make sure the money clears. So maybe that has something to do with the fact that he hasn't confirmed yet if he is going to retire. Either way, let's get to our questions. Thank you for sending in your questions. It's a lot of money. Let's get to your questions. First question on Doc. What is the best teaser or alternate spread parlay to take today? Many question marks. Danny, you're looking happy over there.
Yeah, I got one in myself, and I was actually going to make this one of my bets, but, it's a little wordy to put in a teaser in our little text box. So I'll give it to you right now. Great question, whoever asked this. I'm going to tease the Chiefs down to -1, so you're basically betting Chiefs win the game. I'm going to tease the Niners up to +9.5. I know maybe other people on the show might go different directions, but I love those. I like teasing the favorite to -1. Chiefs beat the Bengals. Niners to +9.5. A lot of points in that game. I think that one looks good.
All right.
It's funny because I think of the opposite. Well, hold on, because what Danny's saying, don't you guys feel that if the Rams win, it's going to be a blowout? Like, I feel like I don't see these being close games. I guess I'm the only one here that doesn't feel like these games are going to be close. I think the Chiefs are going to win by a ton of points, and I think the Rams are going to win by a ton of points, which makes me think that you can get one of those little teases where you bought yourself 6 points, but it's somehow not going to go into play. If the Rams win that game by 10, Danny, your bet's a big lose.
Yeah, but I absolutely disagree. I think that game's going to be close. There's no way that game's a blowout. It's going to come down to that 3.5. It tells you all you need to know. It's going to come down to probably a field goal or one score.
Danny never played Madden, we can tell, because he must not realize what happens when you put all of the best players at their positions on the same team. They just embarrassed Tom Brady if it wasn't for, a heroic comeback, which I think that was a Fugazi comeback. The defense is unreal. They have Von Miller, Aaron Donald, and Jalen Ramsey on the same defense. That's just unheard of, man.
Kenny bets after his Madden results. So while he's calling halfback dive and stick, you'll be watching real NFL players win games. Even the ones that beat Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's my model simulator, man. Don't you go on my website? You see, I use a lot of models and analytics. It's just Madden Sims, bro. Come on.
Kenny bets big system plays.
Yeah.
Next question: which team scores first, the Chiefs or the Bengals? And then they're asking the same question for Rams and 49ers. Kenny, who do you think scores first in the Chiefs or Bengals game?
Bengals. Joe Burrow, just a winner. I'm going to say it again. Did you see how that guy showed up to the stadium yesterday? The guy looked at it. Joe Burrow is just an absolute winner. He's going to light up a nice stogie after this game. Like, look back to college, who that guy had to beat. He was an underdog 7 times that season when he won that championship at LSU in one of the most historic college football seasons. He beat Alabama. He beat Georgia. This is just another, I guess what you want to call a roadblock in the road for Joe Burrow's legacy. I think something's telling me the Bengals win this game. I'm not going to bet the money line because it's a scary one. It's still Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But something is telling me that the Bengals win this game, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Not only do I like the Chiefs to score first, I like Patrick Mahomes to score the first touchdown at plus 1,200. Usually going into some of these games, he's been as the first touchdown scorer, he's been, and I've been monitoring this because it's a play I like a lot. He's been like a plus 3,000 a lot of times. I actually hit him at a plus 4,000 earlier this season. The fact that that's dropped to plus 1,200 means something's interesting going on. I think that there'll be a drive down the field. I think, as we know, that they're going to try to take away some of the Chiefs' weapons, and I think you're going to get a nice little play action or a rollout, and the first touchdown will be Patrick Mahomes at plus 1,200. Sprinkle, and thank me later.
Wow. And, after I think it went down because we saw Mahomes is not afraid to run. We always knew he had the athleticism to do it, but he had like 65 yards and a diving touchdown at the pylon last game. Like, he's going to run if he needs to, and he did with a lot of success. I'm not mad at Bengals to score first for one guy that's not named Joe Burrow and not named
that guy,
Patrick
dude.
Mahomes. Wow, that's pretty wavy. He's looking clean. I will tell you this, though. The reason I might like Bengals to score first, Evan McPherson. This kicker has fucking ice in his veins, and he can make a 60-yarder. So if the Bengals get the ball first and they're at half field, shoot field goal, go for it. I feel like McPherson can catch that. So he's
incredible.
Pick next year.
We've talked about it a lot on this show too. Like Joe Burrow doesn't have Jackson Mahomes and Brittany Lynn doing nonsense all week leading up to this game. Patrick Mahomes has not one but two huge distractions at home. So I think his brain's a little fogged by the latest Jackson Mahomes.
Well,
TikTok
Kenny,
video.
to be fair, Burrow's parents are potentially a distraction. His dad was tweeting out old photos of him wearing a Chiefs helmet last night, saying, "Oh, my boy used to wear Chiefs helmets, but not anymore." So everyone's got those branches on that family tree that are a bit distracting from the case that. But yeah, it's funny. You talk about ice in the veins, and then of course you see that picture of Burrow showing up at the game with ice around his neck. Lot of ice all over the place. And yes, interesting that Kenny thinks the confidence. You can see the man wearing the confidence. You've watched him turn into a star before our very eyes these past few games. And last week was a gift. And if you believe in the fakeness, Kenny likes to talk about the NFL scripted. I mean, Kenny, you don't think that the NFL, the best move, the best strategic financial thing for them is to have LA in the Super Bowl in LA and to have Kansas City? I mean, you don't think that just is the I mean, think about what is a more realistic thing as we get these 2 weeks to build up to the Super Bowl? How do you really see that Super Bowl looking?
That's why I'm not going to go put my money on the Bengals money line. It's a sketchy one. And the Chiefs Rams definitely seems like probably the best matchup out of these four teams remaining. But I mean, if you're getting Bengals Rams, Joe Burrow in that offense is probably behind the Chiefs, maybe one of the most exciting offense in the whole league. So, Bengals Rams is still a pretty sexy matchup in my opinion. And we see guys like Brady, Rodgers, Big Ben all step in. Well, Rodgers is still a toss-up, but if those guys step away, wouldn't it be fitting to have a guy like Joe Burrow, who is probably the guy who's replacing one of those guys, right? So it would just be a good storyline. We lose the GOATs, but this is the future of the league. Joe Burrow, Mahomes, those guys. So
imagine
Danny?
We get Bengals Niners. You guys are all taking the Bengals if somehow we get Bengals Niners. Tell me that right now.
Okay.
Is that
getting
true?
Bengals Niners? I would put my life that we're not getting Bengals Niners.
Somehow, tell me that you would take the Bengals to beat the Niners, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have a couple comments from some very excited Niners fans heading to SoFi. We're taking over SoFi Stadium. That's from Mark Schaefer. Levi Stadium South. Shout out to Jack. And Rams by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
I like that guy. Whoever that is.
Dead Niners fans today.
Quickly, Danny, who do you think scores first touchdown in Rams Niners?
First TD score? Screw it. Biggest impact player on the field. I know there's a guy named Cooper Kupp who might be the best receiver this year, but the biggest impact player on the field is named Deebo Samuel. First TD score.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, Danny forgets Odell Beckham's on the field.
Odell. Question: do you think the Niners defense will sack Stafford? Kevin Klein.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, do I think they'll be sacked at all? Yeah, I think he's gonna get. I told you, I think he's gonna throw a pick. It's one of my favorite props this week. He'll get a little hurry up. He'll get a little fear, but I think that the Rams are gonna put a lot more heat on Jimmy G. So I feel like in that world, Stafford will have the time he needs. And once again, for that first touchdown score, I like OBJ. I'm looking at these odds right here. He's a plus 700 for first touchdown. He's paid me twice this season on first touchdown score. So I like that a lot. Debo's a plus 550, at least on the book I'm looking at right now, if you want to go with what Danny said.
And one point I would like to bring up while we're talking sacks. Everyone's talking about Trent Williams on the Niners and his health concerns, right? He has a high ankle sprain. It looks like he's going to go, but that's obviously been a huge talking point about the Niners offensive line. both Noteboom and Whitworth are both banged up on the Rams offensive line. So Joey Bosa, DJ Jones, all them and company, they're facing an offensive line that's not fully healthy either. So I think Rams have their own concerns.
Sacks on sacks. Niners defense. Can it take down Stafford? And will it give him pressure? Yes. Thank you for your question.
As I heard in the grocery store yesterday in Los Angeles, un poquito.
Un poquito. Un poquito. Where are you going to the grocery store, Kevin? You're going to Vallarta?
Don't worry, all right. I know your places, Serena. I go where Serena goes, all right? It's where Serena...
Kevin can't even say anything.
I'm trying not to get canceled before the end of the season.
You will. I guess that's all of our questions. I'm very excited for today's games. We got good ones, and I can't wait to see you guys. We can talk next week, a couple weeks. We'll be talking about the Super Bowl. So until then, Kenny Bets Big, Danny Brasco.
Happy birthday, Kenny. Kenny, happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kenny.
Thanks,
I'll get you
guys.
some of that Tom Brady goat cheese when it comes out.
That should cancel you. Oh, Kevin Klein. Cheers to you.
Hey, cheers. Look at that, huh? We almost made it. I'm sure we'll be back and do this again before the big game that matters in a few weeks. I don't think we do a pregame before the Pro Bowl because no one cares. So, but listen, it's been a lot of fun hanging out. Of course, if by chance you're watching this and you're in the Southern California area, I'm going to be grabbing my wad of cash and heading down to SoFi to do a little dollar bets action. So if you're going to be walking around there and you'd like to make some money, I see some comments coming in. I will be at the stadium. Bang, bang to you, good sir. And yeah, if you would like to come up and find me, I got money and you do bets. So we will be hanging out in the pink lot, which is not a euphemism, Serena, just so you know.
What's a good dollar bet someone can win $1 for?
Well, today we're going to be changing it up a bit. I think we're going to have someone attempt to shave someone with some good facial hair attempt to shave the initials of the other team, like a Niners fan shaving Rams, or maybe even doing into their yeah, that'd be worth maybe $10, $20. We'll have some people calling X's on the phone live. It'll as always, if you've seen dollar bets, and you can check them out on the YouTube channel. We usually regret exactly what we do as soon as we do it, but it doesn't stop people because money motivates. Money motivates. Let's make some money today.
I love it. Shout out to you, Kevin. Can't wait to see that. Also, if you're trying to win some cash or a big screen TV or any of that, please head to thegameday.com and check out. They're having a great sweepstakes, would you call it? There you go. The ultimate big game giveaway. Make sure you check that out to get a wad of cash and or that big screen TV for the big game. Either way, I'm going to go watch the games. Kevin, you're heading to SoFi Stadium, so we will see you before the big game for our next pre-gaming show. In the meantime, make some money, and good luck, everyone. We'll see you.